Rounds. You are with Jared Nash and Lyndon Orbiston. Port Melbourne Football Club website coming to you the very first time. Live streaming video via the Port Melbourne website. And this next voice you'll hear is that of Jared Nash.
Thank you, Lyndon. It's Gilmore in the ruck for Port against the first gamer, Rowan Marshall for North Ballarat. They fought a draw, and it's going to be North Ballarat with the first clearance here. The short chip across the ground is marked by Nick Rippon. Little fumble there by Austin. Just getting it away, though. North Ballarat careful to start. Now they've got some space to run with. It's Mullet. Goes the short pass, but it's cut off. A nice mark there by the Port Melbourne defence, reading it better.
So Port Melbourne, well, they're going to try and bring it out of defence, although they're a little bit stilted in doing so. Langford came through, was wrapped up in a tackle. The umpire on the spot and holding the ball. The decision, some indecision there from Port Melbourne, sees a free kick going the way of Taylor Garner, and some positive signs early for him, as we said in the pre-game, returning from a pretty significant hamstring tendon injury.
Good start when you're returning from injury. A lot of players are a bit tentative, but certainly Taylor Garner attacked the ball player on that occasion and got the free kick.
So Garner comes in, and after talking him up, he's kicked into the man on the mark, but he got an opportunity to recover the ball now. His kick to the top of the square. Big pack of players there, and Port Melbourne with the numbers here should win out. It's O'Sullivan now with Pinwell. Oh, he's taken high. And the free kick going to the skipper, Toby Pinwell. And he's got an opportunity here just to slow things down a little bit.
Nearly ripped off his man bun.
Of course, Liam Hoy there making things difficult for him, saying retrieve the ball yourself, and now he goes laterally. So Port Melbourne here will look to build. They bring it out grandstand side, and the ball in the hands of Tom O'Sullivan. Goes up to half forward, coming out to meet it there, Sandilands. Couldn't quite take the mark. Toman with a handball over the top into space. Scipione was the intended target, went past him. And then I think coming through there might have been Henderson, got in the back of his opponent. And the free kick will go to the skipper of the Roosters, Miles Sewell.
Little chip kick intended for his teammate. Waddle just misread that completely. Pinwell's there, gets the 1-2. Looks for an option upfield. There's a free kick. It's going back Port Melbourne's way and will be taken by O'Sullivan.
Yeah, Tom O'Sullivan, second in the best and fairest last year. A real improver last season. He's continued on with that good form this year.
So O'Sullivan, he's got a few leads for him short. Decides to go a bit longer, but it was a misdirected kick, and it was cut off by Bosley, who can now run through the middle of Northport Oval. North Ballarat Roosters with all the numbers here in the middle of the ground. The kick smothered, though. O'Sullivan, he's put in a few good efforts already today. The kick now comes wide, and it goes out of bounds for a throw-in. No, it's a free kick remark, and it's going to be taken there by Keel.
Yeah, so just down in front of us, grandstand side, the Norm Goss stand. As Keel goes long, inside 50. A few tall players at the fall of that ball. Nobody able to come away with a clean possession. Coming through there, Johnston wrapped up in a tackle by Sewell. The umpire decides there was no prior opportunity, and he comes in and will have a bounce. Inside attacking 50 for the Roosters, who've started, must be said, much better than last week when they went 30 minutes without scoring. Of course, yet to hit the scoreboard yet, but certainly the intent there 3 minutes or so into this one. The umpire throws it up again. Gilmore comes over the back, knocks it about 15 metres to the good for the Borough. Now the Borough have numbers through the middle of the ground. They go long to centre half forward, getting back underneath it, try and take the mark. Sandilands, one bite of the cherry, two, couldn't quite hold it. Durden went with him. Sandilands still came away with the footy round the body. I think unbelievable finish there from Hugh Sandilands, roved his own crumb. And Port Melbourne with the first of the afternoon. They got a 1 straight 6. North Ballarat yet to score, and an impressive finish there from Hugh Sandilands, Jared.
Well, he certainly made it hard for himself. I was actually more impressed by how well he read the ball in the breeze as it was coming in. Just totally read it better than his defender. Got rid of him, had a couple of bites of the cherry, couldn't complete the mark, but then was good enough at ground level to snap the goal, which is just great signs when you're just a big man like him, key forward, but can also do the crumbing. So back in the middle once more is a big boy, this Rowan Marshall, the North Ballarat debutant. The bounce askew. Umpire doesn't call it back. Coming off the half-forward line for the Borough was Pearson. He goes inside 50, actually goes for home, and has it been touched on the line? It hasn't. So whether good luck or good management, doesn't matter. Pearson gets the second for the Borough, second in all of about 30 seconds. And they lead 2 straight 12, North Ballarat yet to score.
Yeah, Brad Pearson, beautiful finish from Blake Pearson, rather. A beautiful finish from him. He's been really good this year. 10 goals from 5 appearances coming in to today's game. And we saw him kick a couple of crucial late goals, over the last few weeks. But he only needs to get his hand on the ball a few times in the game to really have an impact. And a good start from him. But a vacant goal square, making it difficult for the Roosters to defend. As the umpire puts it back in the middle, it is Gilmore and Marshall will go at it again. A free kick being spotted out. In fact, it is Bruce that's gone into the ruck there for North Ballarat, and he's given away the free kick against his opposite number in Gilmore. So Gilmore hands it off to Langford. Langford gets a kick up to half forward and out in his own there and taking a very nice mark, I believe, is Waddell. Can't quite see. Across that side of the ground. In any event, the Borough will go long inside 50. That's an exceptional kick. And it's another goal to Port Melbourne.
I think it was actually Shannon Taylor, but gee, just got the most of it. There's not much of a breeze. They had the flag up earlier, the 2011 Premiership flag. They've taken it down. It was blowing a little bit towards that end, but gee, that was a big kick.
It was a massive kick, and it carried quite some distance there. So the breeze obviously strongly favouring that end of the ground. But gee, we said 3 minutes ago that North Ballarat had started well and with a good level of intensity, but in the flash of an eye, in the blink of an eye, Port Melbourne had kicked 3 goals.
Yeah, just a few poor defensive efforts. There was the unmarked Borough player coming off half forward for that second goal, and then the chest mark for the third goal there. So back in the middle once more, coming off the square there was Sewell for the Roosters. Goes forward, but all the numbers with Port Melbourne, they're certainly setting up well in that back half. The kick, not great, leading to the footy, a couple of Roosters. It's going to be Peters there first, gets stripped, great tackle, spills out now to Johnston from 45, misses to the left. First blemish on the scorecard for the Borough, but they're making all the running at the moment. 3-1-19, Roosters yet to score.
I believe online at the conclusion of the match. So
that's correct, and you can see the but gee, getting to the front position there and being 15 minutes of the game where the game was a live contest. So where Max Warren to the footy, and he takes a nice mark. Hard up against the boundary. It's a difficult shot from here.
Talented player, good draft pick, looks a good player, should perform for North Melbourne, you'd think, if he can remain injured.
So far this season. Can he add to that? He comes in, this to extend the lead even further. The kick on its way, it's across the face and through for one behind. So a second behind to Port Melbourne. They got a 3-2-20. North Ballarat still yet to hit the scoreboard. We've played just under 9 minutes in this first term.
So Roosters, what can they do better on this occasion? Defender just calling for it to go long. He does now, and he stepped on the line. Gee, when it's not going for you, it's not going for you, is it?
It's that's exactly right. And speaking of which, he's just basically just been clocked in the back of the head by the football. So not a great start for the Roosters. I look to try and rush this one, but instead straight into the hands of Batsanis, waiting at ground level, but his kick offline and through for a behind. So
it's the shocking few minutes, but Warren's going to get a second opportunity. I don't know if I'd trust him again, but the Roosters have. This time he goes to himself. Probably a good option. Then with the handball. Not a great option. No, certainly wasn't. Mackenzie just couldn't get onto it, and it's going to be thrown in on the outer side here. 9 minutes played, 21-point margin already.
Tom Langford just sneaking forward here, but it's Waddell that will go at it in the ruck against Bruce. Ball comes down. Big tackle applied here. Umpire on the spot. Gee, he thought long and hard about whether or not that was holding the ball there against Mackenzie, but in the end said, we'll ball it up. But still dangerous territory here for the Roosters. Coming now in around the footy with numbers out the back, but they're not out of trouble here, North Ballarat. The clearing kick Port Melbourne with numbers, but it's going to beat them all. The man there in pursuit, big Dan Noonan, who's been a very good player for a number of years for Port Melbourne as well. They've got some experience out there this afternoon, some players that have spent many years at North Port Oval, and familiarity with the conditions, always a massive asset here. As the umpire throws it in, 70 metres around from the Borough goal.
Ball just carries the pack. Some good tackling by the Roosters. It's been their disposal letting them down. That's a bit better by Peters. Just goes long to a contest. No mark taken there by Saulo. Now it's Port who can reload. In and under there was O'Sullivan. Was able to wrench the ball out and then goes forward, but it's all the Roosters behind the ball. Keel just drops the handball. Coming in hard there, Sewell. Couldn't quite get it out. Ball still in dispute. Half forward for Port Melbourne. Now the Roosters just with a scrambled kick forward. But Port Melbourne have set the wall up well and should recover despite the fumble. The kick not great though. He went with the third of two options and Nick Rippon has taken the mark.
So Nick Rippon, he looks to go short. The kick's got to be good. He made Keel do some work, but with the second bite of the cherry, he pulls down the mark. And now the Roosters looking to bring it through the corridor. A kick inside 50, and an opportunity to score here on the left boot. The shot at goal there, Jared, I can't quite make out that play there, but it's through from behind. And the Roosters with their first score of the afternoon. So they've improved on their score last week of nothing in the first term against the Bulldogs.
They might get another chance there. Oh, he actually did take the mark. I thought he just dropped it as he went over the line, but Van Oonen, the civil engineer, important for structure down there. Kick forward, but it's cut off by Rippon. Rippon now is kick. All right, Van Oonen coming in, affected the punch, but able to recover there was Jacobs. A few good bit of good work by him so far. The kick not great into the forward line. Big pack of players trying to fight his way through. I think that's Hooper, the big body, and it's going to be thrown up in the forward line for the Roosters.
Hooper going to play an important role here as they try and lock the ball in. It was knocked down the direction of George. He couldn't quite take it, but doing some nice work at ground level. Now the ball spills out. Oh, and a hurried shot at goal there from Jordan Staley. Misses the dartboard altogether, and it's out on the full with the free kick to be taken in the back pocket by Batsanis. So a couple of better minutes here for the Roosters, but just not able to find an avenue to goal at the moment as Batsanis goes across the defensive face at goal. And now the kick comes out to Pearson. He'll back himself here, Pearson. He has a run, he has a bounce down that wing, and now he gets rid of the football long inside 50 and standing underneath it. It was in an absolute paddock there, Seb Henderson. And a nice mark, good transition out of defence for the Borough, and Henderson will go back and kick for his first goal of the afternoon.
Just shows you the importance of players who can break the lines with their speed. Reminds me of another number 32 at AFL level, Travis Collier, who has that ability as well. Just so much quicker, backs himself in, and then the defence doesn't have time to set up, and it results in an easy shot at goal for Henderson, and one he takes advantage of. He gets his first. Port Melbourne, their fourth, 4-3-27 now. Just the one behind for the Roosters. Lyndon.
Yep, and a very impressive start for Port Melbourne, but just goes to show how dangerous this team can be. Rebounding off half back, and for North Ballarat now, it's fair to say it's panic stations. The wheels could fall off early here. They're coming off the back of a significant defeat. They need to make sure that they can respond here so this game doesn't get away from them at the end of the first quarter. So we're back in the middle now, and it is big Waddell who will compete in the ruck for the Borough. That's a bounce at right angles, and the umpire's going to call it back and do it again, of course. Rowan Marshall in there. We spoke about him. He's been dominant for Sebastopol in local footy down Ballarat way, and 3 games as the 23rd man last year. So good to see him get another opportunity as he tries to take away the ball now from the centre square, the centre circles, and going nowhere fast. So few clouds, dark clouds rolling in overhead after some amateur meteorology from both Jared and I suggesting that we'd had perfect conditions for the entire game. Langford brings it away now for Port Melbourne. They go inside 50 again. I think Langford, in the consistent with how most half-back flankers treat an opportunity to go inside 50, he's just had a shot there rather than pass it off. and it's gone wide through for one behind. So Port Melbourne go to 28, North Ballarat 1, and we've played 14 minutes and 27 seconds in this first term.
Wind picking up a bit. It's just gotten a little bit chilly over North Port Oval. Keel, one of the better players so far for the Roosters. Not on that occasion though. Trying to clean up his own mess. Was able to effect a little tackle. Garner in and under there. And eventually it's all locked up and will be thrown up. Big crowd here at North Port Oval. They came to see the grandstand unveiled. That is a terrible kick across goal, and it's going to result in a shot at goal for Port Melbourne. And gee, I took my eyes away for a second, and it was a Roosters player who kicked across goal, and that is just unforgivable. Straight into the hands of his opponent, and an easy goal for Port Melbourne.
Yeah, I believe the goal kicker there, young Pearson, again, we will get confirmation of that, but just critical errors by North Ballarat early, and you can't afford to make it against a side like Port Melbourne because they will punish you every time, as they have done here. But a free kick now going the way of the Roosters, so probably their first takeaway in some time. It ends up in the hands of Lachlan George. He played his 100th game for the Roosters last week, and that's a nice kick in the direction of, I think it's Miles Sewell. Sewell looks inboard, he's got a man on, and it's a nicely weighted kick, and coming across to take the mark is Liam Hoy. For a moment there I thought Langford was going to take the intercept mark, but he's pretty polished by futsal, and Hoy with an opportunity here to get the first for the Roosters and to stem the bleeding somewhat. They desperately need this. They look to bring the lead back to within 5 goals. As Hoy comes in, the umpire does a bit of work. But in the end, it is through for a goal, and it is the Roosters' first of the afternoon. They go to 1-1-7. Of course, Port Melbourne 5-4-34. And Jared, we made mention before the wind's picked up somewhat. It does appear to be favouring that Williams-Sam Road sort of end. What sort of value do you think the wind has this first quarter?
I think we saw one kick that really carried in the wind, but apart from that, it's had a little bit of effect. Certainly not the already 4-goal advantage that Port Melbourne enjoy. It's probably only a 2 or 3 goal breeze, but taking nothing away from Port Melbourne, who have just been excellent so far in this match. The bounce again askew, Marshall with the hit out, the umpire calls it back.
Now the development squad game that took place over at Coburg earlier today, it was Coburg by 37 points over Port Melbourne, so good result for the Lions at Piranha Park.
It's going to be Port Melbourne with the takeaway once again. Woofenden trying to pick it up, just couldn't. Slung to the ground there was Langford, but it's actually been called a throw. And the resultant free kick going the way of Ben Jacobs.
Good left foot kick, Jacobs. Generally uses the ball all right, so,
That's twice
commentator's
now.
curse if I've ever seen it, Jared.
That is twice now. Kicks across goal. It's just, you can't afford, and Ben Jacobs is a talented player, as you said. You don't expect that from him. And Henderson.
If you were showing that footage to a junior player, that was actually a perfect lead up and mark there by Henderson.
Yep, because Henderson was on the move, and the North Ballarat Roosters was flat-footed, and Henderson was able to jump over the top of him and kicks the 6th goal for the Borough. His second, 6-4-40. The Roosters 1-1-7, and Gerald Fitzgerald would be livid at the moment.
Yeah, they've flexed their muscles early, Port Melbourne, but it's not just their dominance in general play, it's these fatal errors from the Roosters that are gifting Port Melbourne opportunities at the moment, and they're going to have to get those out of their game pretty quick smart. Otherwise, this game could be beyond their reach by the quarter-time siren. Of course, we're not even in time on in this first term. So what can the Roosters do to work their way back into the game? Gilmore comes over the top. It's knocked down. Now coming away there is Jacobs. Gets his kick away. It's a high up and under ball. I reckon you're being a bit generous with that wind, Jared. That ball appeared to hold up. It sat there nicely for Tynan, but I think it might be worth a couple of goals. But of course, not worth anything if you can't dispose of the football well. As O'Sullivan now goes for the kick. Too much on it there for the intended target in Lyle. And the Roosters, well, they're going to try and bring it away. It's James Keeble there coming back. And
put it this way, it wasn't the wind who scored the last 2 goals for Port Melbourne.
No, you're spot on. But Keeble there, of course, only 1 game so far this year. Missed a couple with hamstring soreness and a knee injury, and that's a fair welcome back for him as Batsanis gets the handball from Pinwell, and Port will go inside 50 again, but this time the numbers win out for the Roosters, and it's Luke Keel. They're going to persist with that work across defensive goal screen. It's Matt Austin with the footy. He goes back to Warren. They're actually conceding meterage here. Now Warren for the defensive goal square. He puts his teammate under some real pressure. That's Tippett. He got the handball over the top, and the Roosters on this occasion can carry the ball out through Peters and now Shaish. Down that outer wing. CBD side of this ground. Kicks inside 50. No mark unable to be taken there. So, coming back there again, I think was Langford. He's been caught a couple of times with the footy, Tom Langford, and this one is a free kick going the way of Hooper, and certainly within scoring range, young Andrew Hooper here.
Yeah, certainly. He doesn't need 2 invitations, does he, Andrew Hooper? He saw that his opponent was just a bit hesitant, and he pounced on it immediately.
So Hooper, of course, formerly of the Western Bulldogs, and joins the Roosters by way of Glenelg. He comes in, his kick right to the line, just had enough legs. It's through for his first of the afternoon, and the Roosters have got their second. So they go out to 2-1-13, but still, of course, 27 points in arrears of Port Melbourne. So a good finish there from Andrew Hooper. I really like his defensive pressure, and of course exemplified on that occasion with a nice tackle and a finish in front of goal.
Their tackling's been good. They've attacked the ball well. It's just a little bit of disposal that's letting them down. They just want to hold fort during time on in this quarter. The wind has picked up. I think you're right, Lyndon. We saw that kick. Ordinarily, it would have just carried for Hooper, but it did hold up. So maybe I was wrong. That's why I'm not a meteorologist. Ball comes towards half forward. That's a good mark taken on the chest by young Scipione. He looks up now. Not much of an option leading for him. He might just have to go along and back himself with the breeze at his back.
He's a left footer. I reckon he'll fancy himself from here.
So, certainly looks to be going for it. Just a bit of a skip, maybe trying to get the extra few meters. No problem at all. It was beautiful off the boot. The fans liked it straight away. And they moved to 7-4-46. The Roosters 2-1-13.
7-goal first term already to the Borough, and as I said earlier, we're only just we're just into time on now. So a big first quarter from them, and it's obviously demoralising as well for the Roosters, who kick a goal and then Port just with a counter punch make things very difficult. So they've started well, Port Melbourne. They're 4th on the ladder at the moment, and they're playing like a genuine top 4 team. Umpire back in the middle. Well done, Gilmore. Just able to stand his ground. And now, well, the Borough will take it away again through Batsanis. Nice ball inside 50, and coming out, taking the mark there is Hugh Sandilands, who's presented well. Of course, Khan Haratuku not playing this afternoon. Been part of the Twin Towers with Jordan Lyle up forward for Port Melbourne this season. But in Haratuku's absence, of course, Sandilands has just slipped forward and has not looked out of place at all. He has, as we said earlier, gone forward with good effect this year already. He kicked 3 last week against Geelong. Coming into today's game, 8 goals for the season, and he's already got 1 this afternoon. So with an opportunity to add to his tally and to extend the lead. He's seen Scipione kick 1 from there before, and now Sandilands, in a mirror image, kicks his second, and then straight to the crowd to acknowledge them. And this Port Melbourne lead now just continues to grow. They go to 8-4-52. North Ballarat 2-1-13. And a nice build up there from Port Melbourne. I'm not sure the Roosters touched the ball.
No, they haven't touched it in the last few goals that Port Melbourne have kicked. They're just winning the ball out of the midfield. Port Melbourne, their forward line is reading it well as well. They seem to have a number back when North Ballarat get forward. They're just dominant at the moment. Not even sure what the Roosters can do to get back into this. This is just a clinic by Port Melbourne in front of their home fans. Out of the middle. Looks like it's going to be another clearance Port Melbourne's way. Momentarily held up, and actually good pressure by the Roosters have forced this forward. By way of Sewell. The kick to full forward, no mark taken, off hands. Still a chance for the Roosters, hemmed in across the boundary line.
Oh!
Whoa, how'd he do that? That is incredible. Lockie George has just thrown it on the boot the wrong side for a right footer, hemmed across the boundary line, chucked it on the outside of the boot, and somehow, out of nothing, has kicked one of the more miraculous goals you're likely to see.
Yeah, it was a beautiful finish there for the Roosters. An unexpected goal, but you've got to manufacture them however you can. And going forward there, that is one of the better goals you'll see in the VFL this weekend, Jared.
Yes, that'll be on all the highlight reels during the week, you'd have to think. So the Roosters get their third. The problem is they've conceded 8.
We're back in the middle now. I'll be looking for consecutive goals for the first time this afternoon. The umpire balls it up. Both ruckmen went without the footy there, but again, Port Melbourne, their numbers around the ball have been so dominant this afternoon. And Pinwell again inside 50. Now, looking for an opportunity here, and the ball ends up there with young Mercedes it is. And Mercedes with a beautiful finish around the body. He slipped forward, and Jared, it's the same old story. The Roosters, anything you can do, Port Melbourne can do better, because within 30 seconds they've responded with their 9th goal. They got a 9-4-58 and North Ballarat, of course, 3-1-19. Played 25 and a half minutes in this first term.
It was really good work to just slip his opponent, and then the finish was sublime. Just the perfect sort of goal for a small forward. Kicked 9 already this term. We've seen 12 goals. It's been a very entertaining first quarter here at Northport Oval. Let's hope the rest of the game is like it, although hopefully the North Ballarat Roosters can get back into it. They go forward on this occasion. Still plenty of time for them to get a couple back on the board before quarter time. We're going to have a bounce at the 50. Big pack of players around this ball. Maybe Port Melbourne just trying to lock it up, although that's not their style. They'll keep attacking. They're the Brendan McCullum of VFL teams. Toby Pinwell slips the handball out in the direction of Mosquiti. Now up to half forward. The ball goes over the boundary line for a throw in.
And there's one man who'll be looking to get in on the action. The man on your screen there, Jordan Lyle, as we said before the game. 14 goals coming in. The man with the job on him today, Joel Tippett. And he's going to have to wear him pretty closely as the umpire now going to throw the ball in. Inside attacking 50 for Port Melbourne. And they'll be looking to engineer another score from this position. Throws it in. Front position there. Waddell did well to knock it down. Now at the back, Mosquiti again. Wheels around onto his right boot. Long ball to the top of the square. Gee, he's got some carry on it. And standing underneath it and taking a very, very nice mark. I think it's that man again, Henderson, who's been everywhere in this first term, Nashi.
Yeah, they're certainly just clearing out their forward line at the Borough. They're either letting the small forwards run onto it, or on that occasion, Henderson just take the mark, and he gets the 50-metre penalty. So this will be a goal for the Borough. He slots it. But, yeah, it's just been a really impressive performance by their forward line, because when the small forwards aren't getting it, it's Henderson who's taken 3 marks, and he's just reading the ball really well down there.
And Seb Henderson, not the only one who kicked 3 goals in the first term of a game this afternoon. Werribee and Sandy, Majak Dor has got 3 in the first quarter, and it's Werribee 4-3-27 leading Sandringham 4-2-26. There's light drizzle upon the crowd now apparently at Simmons Stadium. So we're not that far away. We're not that far away from Geelong. We might, whether or not we're going to get there, whether this afternoon remains to be seen. But back in the middle of the ground here now, and it's Waddell who'll compete again for the Borough. Knocks it down, coming through there. Jacobs got a handball out. Oh no, they've made a meal of this. They're going to go inside 50 again. The kick on its way there, I think, from Mosquiti, through for 1 behind. But once they get the ball forward to centre here, the Borough, they look dangerous, and they look as if they're within goal-scoring territory.
Yeah, North Ballarat, they won't want to break the record they only made last week. 146 points, and it's not looking good so far for them, but that's all Port Melbourne's work. It really has been mainly Port Melbourne that's been good, rather than the Roosters who have been bad, I think.
Yep. No, they're certainly asserting themselves here and making a statement as to where they can go and what they can produce in 2015. So the ball again being marked here by the Borough, and it looks like it's going to go back inside 50. A long ball to the square. That kick's gone all the way. Another goal to the Borough. makes it 11 goals, 5 this first term. Tom O'Sullivan, the goal kicker, joining in the list of a cast of what seems like hundreds now. It was a beautiful kick, all of 55 metres with the wind at his back. And, of course, as I said, the Borough got 11-5-71, North Ballarat 3-1-19, 28 minutes played in this first term.
Yeah, just never in doubt. He knew he could get the distance. He knew he had the wind at his back. He didn't think about it before going for goal. He just went, and beautiful finish for them. And the margin is a very worrying, my maths is shot, 52 points already. Out of the middle. Could be the Borough once again, although, again, good pressure. Sewell was just able to get a handball out, which led to the clearance for the Roosters. On the outside of the boot now, a bit of a party trick by Johnson. Not the greatest of options. He's going to be able to win it back, and then he gets one high, and we'll get the free kick at half back.
So, the Borough now, you feel like this quarter with, of course, 14 goals kicked, it's probably going to go for another few minutes yet. 30 minutes up on the clock now as the Borough bring it back to the defensive goal through, and it's Mosquito getting back to take the mark right on the last line of defence. Lucas Cook offers a lead down there. That's ignored. He elects instead to go short to Noonan. They'll bring it out slowly. Happy to hang on to the footy here. The Borough is O'Sullivan. It's Tom. He goes long. He's kicked now up to Gilmore. Gilmore's still underneath it. Couldn't hold the mark. Roosters now with numbers around this footy. Lockyer in there was tackled. And the umpire on the spot says we'll have a ball up. So, haven't seen a lot of Tony Lockyer yet this afternoon, but he's one player who's going to have more of the footy. Looks like he's got the job on Henderson at this point. So, the move's being made here by the Roosters. There's a hurried kick from that clearance. Comes out from Mullet, but coming across to take the intercept mark there is Tynan. Defensive 50. His kick's got to be good. It's not quite. Hoy was there, but Batsanis off hands. And again, the Borough will run it out with Woofenden. Woofenden short ball, looking to make some ground there is Henderson. It sits up nicely for Waddell, who, in the end, and in the verdict, or in the mind of the bounce umpire, was out of bounds when he kicked it. So we're going to bring the ball back just below us here in the Port Melbourne grandstand. Normgos grandstand, Port Melbourne attacking end. And as you said earlier, Jared, a big crowd here to see the Borough this afternoon.
He almost could have left that ball waddle for Henderson, who probably could have run an extra 40 metres then and would have had the shot at goal anyway. It's going to be brought back in the middle of the ground, the handball in the direction of O'Sullivan. Couldn't quite get onto it though. Big hit by Keeble, just tried to go on with it, eventually stripped to the footy. Now it comes out to Jacobs. He's taken down in a gang tackle. And they're doing the attacking stuff well, Port Melbourne, but they're also tackling well, like on that occasion.
They're struggling to find time and space, the Roosters. Everyone who gets a possession does so under pressure. Back in the middle. Looks like we're going to have another ball up in the centre circles here at North Port Oval. The wind certainly picked up. The jackets are out. The scarves are out.
The Roosters have gone a spare man in defence. Shach has gone down there, so the Borough have the extra in the contest. Pinwell is able to bring it out. The kick smothered though. Keel getting onto it, taken down, and will be thrown up. And again, a gang tackle, 3 of them. So it's not just one, it's 2 or 3 attacking the ball carrier, laying tackles, and just a thrilling exhibition of footy by Port Melbourne in this first term. Van Oonen with the scrambled kick forward, marked there by Pearson. He evades the tackle, goes all the way. Blake Pearson, you are fantastic. On the siren as well. Team lifting stuff. 58-point margin at quarter time. And that final goal summed up the first term, didn't it, Lyndon?
Absolutely. Blake Pearson just prepared to take the game on. He, of course, a dashing young player and someone who's, as we've said, really come on this year and just backed himself there. And seconds before the siren, it's just basically tells the tale of how the Roosters have gone this afternoon. 5 seconds later and he would have run out of time, but just squeezing in Port Melbourne's 12th goal. 12 goals, 5, 77, their score at quarter time. North Ballarat, 3 goals, 1. On the one hand, you say the Roosters, they only managed 5 goals last week, so to have 3 in the first term is one of the slight or few positives they could take out of this first quarter. But Port Melbourne, having kicked 12 goals in the first term. Just a dominant and emphatic start to the game by the Borough. We'll quickly go